Wow, so nice to see everyone so soon again, right? This time with the final part of our vacation. It has been 8 months and a long time coming, but finally it's time to wrap this project up. So let's just get started. Alright, day 4, we had plans to see Austin's other grandma on the paternal side, and we also had a scheduled Michelin dinner in the evening. This morning we walked to a bakery called Sun Mary. It's a chain. There was a location near the jobbing place that we had been going to. And honestly, I wouldn't have minded getting jobbing again this morning, but Austin didn't want to go 3 times in a row. Walking on our way back to the house, we stopped by this coffee chain called Louisa Coffee for our morning coffee fix. We had plans to meet up at Austin's grandma place at 10:30 and then have lunch together afterward. At Austin's grandma's place, she has this little shrine dedicated to showing off pictures, and according to Austin, she likes to switch them out depending on who's visiting. Since it was me and Austin visiting, she featured a bunch of baby photos of Austin, and it was really sweet and cute. Anyway, after some chatting, we all headed out together to go to this place called Chamonix. It's a fusion restaurant that kind of mixes French and teppanyaki style. Austin's aunt also joined us, and Chamonix just kind of has these set menus. I chose the duck course, but each course, there's so many, it's so much food. I was full before they even got to the duck. The meal was alright. I'd say the best part was the main dish, the meat, which unfortunately I didn't get to eat much of because there were so many courses beforehand. But I did really enjoy dessert, specifically the milk tea that I ordered. After hanging out with Austin's paternal grandmother, we decided to go check out this building that I had seen from afar on the bus the other night. I thought it looked really cool and majestic, and it turns out this building is one of the national halls that leads you to the Jiang Jieshi Memorial. And to be honest, I had no idea who this guy was, but I found out after the trip, doing some googling, that he was quite the controversial figure. And yeah, this is kind of funny, but look at me just posing like with the peace sign next to this dude, as if he wasn't like some corrupt dictator. But beyond the figure, I really enjoy like these ancient Chinese style kind of architecture. It makes me feel like I'm in a drama or just some other kind of mystical land. It started raining all of a sudden while we were there, so we decided to wrap up our trip and head back to the house to chill out until dinner. For dinner, we booked this 2-star Michelin French place that's located in 101. I don't have too much to say about this dinner. The food was great. The bread spread they gave us was kind of insane. To be honest, I am realizing that these fancy expensive dinners don't really leave a lasting impression on me. Like, looking at the footage now, I'll be like, oh yeah, we did eat that thing, and I'm like, oh yeah, I think it did taste like this, but before seeing this, I just wouldn't have really remembered what we ate at all. I do know it was really good, and at the time we had tentatively rated this as our best meal yet. And despite how small each course looked, we were so full at the end. And of course it didn't help that Austin overate at lunch, so he was really, really full. To alleviate our hefty feelings of bloatedness, we decided to take a walk after dinner. We took a stroll through the shopping center buildings, which are all kind of connected with this rail walkway. And I really enjoy this feeling of the city being alive even at night. All the lights are lit up, it looks really pretty, there's plenty of people still hanging out. I was also surprised to see a lot of IU ads specifically for New Balance. For those of you who don't know, Austin is a huge IU stan, and apparently she is very popular in Taiwan. Anyway, the walkways and everything here are just so nicely decorated and clean. And of course, I love seeing the 101. It's nice to be able to take an evening walk. There's no vague, scary feeling like there is when I'm at home, I feel. I don't know. Am I romanticizing it? Alright, next day. We plan to go back and see Austin's maternal grandmother again. We wanted to go out to eat some Japanese food. She loves Japanese food, but unfortunately it was a rainy day. So we decided to stay in. Austin ordered some food delivery from like this kind of Japanese food place, not really. And we just hung out and had the meal at her place. After lunch, we decided to go back to those shopping buildings near 101, mostly because last night when we were walking around, we saw that there was a Nintendo pop-up store and I wanted to go check it out. And actually, before we hit up the pop-up store, we had found out that there's a Pokemon Center here too, so we checked that out first. Nothing special, just same as other Pokemon Center stores. Though I did buy a couple of washi tapes. Also, why are there never any Togepi plushes? I thought people loved Togepi. Anyway, the Nintendo pop-up store was cool. There was kind of a long line to go in. Luckily we were there during the weekday, during working hours, so it wasn't super crazy, but we did wait for I think at least like half an hour. Checking out the store is really fun when you're familiar with all the IP. I do enjoy a lot of Nintendo characters and games, but I'm mostly the biggest fan of Animal Crossing, so I just bought Animal Crossing stuff. And on our way out, we stopped by the New Balance store to visit IU. Okay, on the way back from our early morning to late afternoon adventure, I did want to stop by this milk tea place called Odd One Out. I discovered them through a YouTube video that I watched about like, it doesn't matter. I found them through some kind of YouTube video. And apparently this brand has won some sort of Taiwanese milk tea competition. I'm not really familiar with how legit or anything that is, but yeah, we went. It was good. Didn't find it to be super mind-blowing or anything. We went back to the house for a while, hung out, and I was honestly dreading the fact that we would have to go out again for food for dinner. Like I've been saying, I am so exhausted every day, my feet are in pain every day, and even if there's a day where we're walking a little bit less than before, you know, the pains of previous days accumulate. But Austin did want to take me to another night market that is also pretty popular these days called the Tonghua Night Market. It was a rainy day, so there weren't that many people, but I didn't mind that. I'd say a lot of the same stressors that existed in our previous visit still existed. I am typically the one going to the vendors and ordering. I was getting like a little tired of doing that, so I did force Austin to go up a couple times. But I would say it was a successful night market trip. We did end up eating a lot more variety of food than we did at the other one we went to. Another funny story about this night market visit, Austin was looking everywhere for this very specific tangyuan place that apparently his family always goes to or something like that. He loves it. He told me he remembered that it was supposed to be on this street. We did pass by a couple of tangyuan places, so I'm like, hey, is it that one? And he's like, no. And then I'm like, okay, we walked by another one. Is it that one? Nope. I'm kind of thinking like, okay, if he says it's on the street, it's gotta be one of these places. He's all like, no, none of these places seem familiar. So we leave the night not having any tangyuan. But I want you all to shelve away this partial story for later, okay? Alright, next day. Something we haven't done yet and that we definitely needed to do within the next couple of days was visit the zoo. We walked directly over to the panda exhibit because that's all really Austin cares about, and it was relatively empty, but it was kind of funny. There's just like a dedicated group of photographers. Austin told me this crazy dedicated squad is always there whenever he comes to the zoo. And I'm just like, oh, okay, sure. Seeing the pandas in their enclosures honestly made me feel kind of sad for them. Like, not only is the space pretty small for an animal like that, but the floors are also just kind of like made of concrete, I think. They do have the opportunity to access this outdoor area, which is nicer, but I still think it's kind of small for them. I'm no panda expert, and I'm sure the zoo does its best to take care of its animals, but the sight of it still does make me kind of sad. I mean, they're cute though. We did walk around a little bit outside of the panda exhibit. Some of the walkways are really lush with a lot of greenery. It's really cool. But we didn't stay there for long. It was a super duper rainy day, and we were getting hungry. Okay, for lunch, Austin brought me to this banger place that sells braised pork over rice. This place was so good. I'm pretty sure most of you all know what braised pork over rice is like, but this place just does it so good. I scarfed down my entire bowl, and you know what? I'm a messy eater. And it's funny, the woman that we were sharing a table with, she helpfully pointed at the box of like napkins in the corner when she saw me like ravaging my food. Afterwards, we walked over to some close random cafe called Ramble Cafe. One thing about this visit that stood out to me was that the cashier, she was so nice and friendly and polite to us. Not saying that other service workers are rude or anything, they're just more indifferent. And coming across this really nice service worker made me reflect on all the other service workers in Taiwan. I feel like I kind of came across some insight into the service culture. Okay, afterwards, here's another thing I don't have a lot of footage of, is this place called Songshan Creative Park. It's another creative park like the one we visited earlier, so yeah, there were a lot of other businesses and stuff in here. This place was interesting because I think it used to be an old tobacco factory. I bought a few items from one storefront, but otherwise this was mostly just kind of a walk and chill activity. By the time we finished walking around, it was already a little late and time for dinner. we decided to go to some random nearby place we found online. This place is called Yangguo and it's just hot pot. It's good, nothing special. Now remember that tangyuan story that I partially told you from the previous day? Here is where we have our epic conclusion. Austin had messaged his parents asking where is this tangyuan place that I'm thinking of? And you know what? They gave him an address and he led me straight back into that same street we were at yesterday, into one of the same stores that I had pointed out. I was like, yo, if this was the place, why did you say it wasn't? In present day, he says, oh no, that wasn't the place I was looking for. They sent me an address to a good alternative. But I'm a little skeptical because at the time, based on both of our understanding, I took a photo of him looking silly to remember this moment. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think his parents sent us the address to the place he intended to go to from the beginning? Or do you think they sent him the address to an alternative tangyuan place that is different than what he was thinking of? We could probably easily find out the answer to this by asking his parents, but I don't know. I'm also afraid of opening the door to finding out that I'm wrong. I buy a boba as compensation for my troubles, and we take a rainy trip back to the house. Next day, here we go. There was one last place that I definitely wanted to go to, and we had not, and this was our last chance. Fuhang soy milk. This place is so popular. The line goes down the stairs all the way from the second or third floor, around the building, and then maybe around the building again. I was kind of thinking, how good can this soy milk be? It was pretty damn good. We waited in line, not super long I guess, maybe 30 to 45 minutes. The ordering system is actually kind of really fast. I meant to order a rice milk for Austin, but I accidentally paused after ordering my own soy milk, and she assumed I was done with my order, and she moved me along. I was like, oh, okay, no rice milk for Austin. What's famous here is their salty soy milk. It comes with a youtiao, which in English they call Chinese donut for some reason. I ordered an extra portion of Chinese donut too, and I forget what I ordered. It's some kind of thing for Austin. Austin is allergic to soy. At least we think he is. I don't know, soy is in a lot of things, so I'm not really sure. And at first, we took it home to eat. I was eating, I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. Nothing that crazy though, but you know what? This is one of those things that has a lasting impression. At first I was like, okay, sure. Then afterwards, I just could not stop thinking about it. It comes back to you again and again and again. After morning soy milk, we of course took a break, and for lunch, Austin decided to take me to this guabao place. Guabao is, it's kind of like a steamed bun, and they usually put in like a piece of fatty pork in there, and they'll probably put in some other things too, like maybe some pickled vegetables, and sometimes like a little sprinkling of like peanut dust or something. This particular guabao place is near NTU, National Taiwan University. After eating, we were gonna walk around, but it was a hot, sweltering day. So we just decided, you know what, let's head back to our kind of home area, and maybe we could just walk around Dan Park instead. Dan Park is really big and nice near their family house. And man, similar to Ueno Park, I really regret not checking out this place sooner. It is a beautiful park. It's big, it's luscious with a bunch of nature and everything. Very picturesque, and you get to see all kinds of wildlife, especially hanging out by the water. But, like I said, it was hot as hell that day, so we didn't stay around too long. We made a healthy little loop and then headed back to the house. Alright, for dinner, we were supposed to go to this really nice Japanese buffet. But Austin let me take care of the reservation, and it turns out I booked the completely wrong restaurant. So we decided to kind of go for an alternative that apparently used to be really popular but was now kind of outclassed by all these other higher quality Japanese buffets. Honestly, I thought it was pretty good and it felt pretty high end to me, but Austin's saying, nah, this place sucks in comparison to what we could have had, so maybe next time I'll make the correct reservation and realize what we really missed out on. And again, this place was in one of the shopping buildings near the 101. So again, similar to other nights, after dinner, we just walked around the shopping area. And I think I kind of mentioned this earlier, but I love how comfortable it is to walk around at night. There's so many people out, it's really lively. There's a bunch of stuff that's lit up and prettier in the evening. There always seems to be something happening. It's a completely different vibe than back at home. And well, that would be our last evening out in Taipei. We spent the night cleaning, packing, but honestly we still kind of basically also had an entire day tomorrow since our flight was at midnight. Alright, last day in Taiwan, and because our flight's at midnight, we have a lot of time to kill, so we have one more hangout with Austin's maternal grandmother. We have lunch together at the 101, and this time Austin's aunt came through too. She said she wanted to invite us out a previous day, but we were not picking up the phone or something. So, it got pushed back to this last day. And after lunch, we also paid one more visit to Austin's paternal grandmother, and that visit I feel was really fun and special. We went through some of her old travel books that she put together herself. We went through tons of pictures of her traveling the world. She would write little captions or descriptions of her adventures. She also encouraged and inspired me to do something similar because the longer that time goes on, the more details you forget. And after saying goodbye, we went back to the family house to do some final cleaning and packing. Just hung out for a while until it was an appropriate time to go to the airport. And we did arrive pretty early because we had nothing else to do. At the airport, I finally got to try Moss Burger. I have been seeing this freaking brand all over the place in Taiwan, and I was really curious because they have pictures of like, some of the pictures look like really weird like burgers, like, oh, come try our weird burger. But I'm like, is it like poppin'? Anyway, I finally get to try it, and I gotta tell you, it was poppin'. It was really good. Finally, all that was left to do was to get on our flight, suffer through the 11 to 12 hours, and finally make it back home. Thank you, friends and family, for watching all these videos. I know it's kind of been super long, but I really wanted to share my experience as much as it made sense to. Overall, we had a fun time in Japan. So many people loved our silly hats. In Taiwan, we had such amazing food. By the way, no hat compliments at all. People did not care about the hats. I kind of wanted to share some of my reflection on this trip a little bit. Visiting Taiwan felt almost spiritual. Regardless of the politics, so much of Taiwanese culture shares roots with Chinese culture, and being there felt like returning to something deeply familiar, like I was among my people. As an ABC, I grew up with fragments of cultural knowledge. On big Chinese holidays, my family would order takeout, or maybe I just kind of hear in passing stories from how my parents experienced life there. But actually being there made me wonder what life could have looked like if I grew up in that environment, surrounded by people who share that heritage firsthand. It brought up these strange feelings of remorse for what could have been, or maybe like a sense of longing. This trip left me feeling like I wanted to connect more with my roots. Ever since I came back from this trip, I started reading more about history, migration, geopolitics, and even stuff from like way back when, like the freaking Ice Age. I can't really explain elegantly why I did this, but it came from a place of curiosity of how I exist in the context of all that came before me. And it's been so fun and fascinating to learn how we all ended up where we are today. I don't know what I'm really rambling about, to be honest. I don't know if there's a lesson here, but I did walk away from this whole trip with deeper appreciation for my cultural background, my family, for all the generations that came before me. Anyway, thanks again to friends and family who kept up and took the time out of their days to watch my videos. I know these videos are kind of long and also not super thrilling, but it really does mean so much to me to know that you guys care. Maybe I'll catch you guys again soon in another video after I go on my next vacation.